So the first Sunday of the month always is fun for me because I think it's, I believe you did a burning bowl ceremony last week or something similar. And you may have done personally on New Year's Eve, out with the old, in with the new, whatever process you might use. And so we step into, in the Mary Morrissey's Prosperity Plus classes, she talks about each day as a brand new baby day. So what we have is a brand new baby year. The symbology that we have as a society is the new year is always a little baby and swaddling, and the old year is, walking away, right? So that's where we are. We're in this new space. Reverend Karen talked about everything new, everything made new. The chant is about everything new. Oh, and thank you for the song. Awesome. Thank you. One of my favorites. And done well by both of you. Thank you. So we're stepping into this newness. Now, I know newness scares the bejesus out of lots of people. I don't want anything new. I want everything to be the way it was yesterday. I want yesterday to be today, to be tomorrow. Don't talk to me about new. And the reality is, in my experience, is whether it's seeming to stay the same or not, it's changing. Your refrigerator doesn't have the same stuff in it every day when you go to it because you used that thing yesterday and you can't replace it with exactly the same head of broccoli or cabbage or cauliflower or apples or whatever it is. It's going to be different stuff. It may look similar in general content, but it's different. The cells in your body, I've read several different ways, but, I can't remember. I think it's trillions of cells in your body turn over on average every 7 days. So today you're not who you were a week ago. And every day part of you has changed. So we're changing. So this news. So as I was thinking about my topic this morning and thinking, well, what does new mean? How do I want to talk about what new is? And what I came up with was the idea of next expression of wonder. Now, sometimes that wonder might be, wow, look at that. Other times it might be, I wonder why that's showing up for me. A couple of quick personal stories. About 2 years ago, I had this idea that, it was actually the end of 2016, that I should lose about 8 pounds to get down to a weight that I would have as my rest of my life weight, because I thought it was a good weight, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I started on this process, and I did what I've done in the past, and I cut down on my portions, went to the gym a little more diligently, things like that, and I started gaining weight. and the graphic I showed one of my doctors was I had a bowl like this that I used to have, like 1.5 servings in, and I went down to a neck size, and then I went down to like quarter size, and my weight was doing this. And so that was in early 2017. Went and had some tests. My hormones, my vitamins, my thyroid, all out of whack. So it was like, I started with I wonder why this is happening, because I had this picture of where I wanted to go, and it was going the opposite direction. Long story short, through most of 2017, I was like trying to figure this thing out. At the beginning of 2018, still had the same objective, but now was, instead of needing to lose 8 pounds, it was almost 25, because, the medication and whatever else. End of January last year, I stopped taking the medication because I read a whole bunch of stuff, and it just sounded like it wasn't the right thing to do. My doctor was horrified, very cautious, very like, I don't know that this is the right thing to do. I said, but it doesn't seem to be having any positive effect. So 42 pounds later, here I am. Now, side effect of that, down. Obviously. I think obviously. I've never been that small, so I don't think I've weighed this much, been at this weight since I was maybe 14 or 15, so it's kind of interesting. The side effect is, I was telling Ron and Fonnie, I put on my suit jacket, and I looked like a 12-year-old kid wearing his father's suit. The pants were, I couldn't keep them up. They just that would have not been a way to present myself. So it was an interesting thing, is, to go from like, I wonder why this is happening. So it was like not a wow, that's magnificent. It was a wow, that's not so good. But it opened up some doors, and self-care and health-care and caring for myself that changed a whole bunch of what I was doing. Beginning of 2018, my wife and I were saying, gee, we seem to be saying, huh, what did you say, what did you say? I know nobody's had that experience, and so we agreed to go get hearing tests. So I think it was the end of June, we went to our friendly Costco and had our free test. And turns out her hearing was perfect and mine was not. And so now if you look closely, there's little goodies stuffed in my ear. Life-changing. Didn't know I needed them, didn't know anything about it. But what I realized is I used to sing falsetto and high harmonies in my garage band 50 years ago. And I stopped. And I realized now the reason I stopped was not only could I not hear what I was singing, I couldn't hear the notes that I was trying to harmonize with. And it changed everything. Now I'm actually, in 2 weeks, probably going to be making it, I call it my debut as a lead singer. So it's changed my life in a way that I did not expect. So part of the newness is what might be out there that's not on your radar today, that will change your life for tomorrow and the next tomorrows. And I'm a big proponent of writing things down. So if I've got, and I've got 2 pages right now for myself, and Deborah and I are going to do our together stuff, I think later today or tomorrow, for what we want to see in 2019. We started with this is not a particularly polite question, but what sucked in 2018? And then what went well in 2018? And then what do we want to see really unfold beautifully in 2019? That's the question. That's the question we have to answer next. So as you come up with those things for yourself, or maybe you already have your list, it may be one thing, it could be 10 things, it doesn't really matter. It's whatever is calling you in the moment. I would write it down somewhere. If you're not a documenter of sorts, take a minute and at least write that 1 or 2 things down, whatever it might be, and put them somewhere. You don't have to put them on your refrigerator. You don't have to put them, visible to yourself. Put them in the folder that you use to collect all your tax receipts for next year. Whatever. Someplace you will see it eventually. Because I know that the very act of writing it down commits it beyond you just thinking, I'd like to do this or I'd like to do that. So that you step into that next thing, that next expression. And I know from all the work that I've done and the studies that many of you are on, with your practitioner courses and so forth, that there's a constant expressing of spirit within us. There's a movement of the energy that is the energy of the universe that is always flowing and moving. And I think the last time I was here, I talked about this idea. One of my favorite things, and people look at me a little funny sometimes, is that the universe is always conspiring for my good. And I like the word conspiring because it's an active thing. I think the universe is really sort of looking to fill spaces. You may have heard the thing that the universe abhors and always fills a vacuum. So you take something out of a space and there's something that's going to step into that space, whether it's a physical thing that you can actually see or it's just, you suck the air out of something and then you open it up the other end and more comes in from another source. So as we are filling and moving and changing these things, what is the expression that's coming through you? What is that next expression, that next thing that's going to come forward? And then, where is the wonder? Is it something that's a wonderful or a wonderment? I think that's a word. And so we speaker August Gold, Reverend August Gold, did a wonderful talk that I heard a number of years ago. And she basically said when something shows up, the question to ask is not, oh my God, why did this happen to me? It's, I wonder what's in this for me. What is this bringing to me? So you come up, you have a new challenge. Well, what does that challenge ask you to do? That challenge asks you to think about your life maybe in a different way, to look at how you might do things differently, how you might approach the next step you take because this thing that was unexpected happened, and now somehow you have to resolve or take care of it or whatever it might be. 6 years ago on New Year's Eve, I got a call from my mother that my brother had passed. And suddenly we had a whole new thing to work with, a whole new process. He and my mother are in Los Angeles. We were here in Cape Coral. So logistics, making flight arrangements at 3 o'clock in the morning, all those kinds of things. Not to mention all the emotional stuff you go through when, in my case, younger brother makes his transition. So that was nowhere on my radar. I had talked with him 2 weeks earlier, and he told me that all of his health indicators were better than they were the year before. Sorry, bro, but he wasn't telling me the truth. Turned out he hadn't been to the doctor again. That he just stopped. So, but it caused adjustments. It caused adjustments to what the new year was going to bring, to how life was going to unfold, what the commitments were that needed to be made on my part and the rest of the family's part. And yes, it was negative. Nobody wants to lose a sibling or a parent but we know that these things tend to be inevitable. Life moves on, and some of us live a long time. My 50th high school reunion was recently held, and although I didn't go, there was all sorts of Facebook stuff about, have you seen so-and-so, and many of them, the answers came back, well, he or she made their transition, 8 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. The one just came up the other day. This is a kid that was high school gymnast, always fit or whatever, passed in 1997. That was a long time ago. I don't know what happened, but it's like, oh, he's just one of my friends, and he's gone. So as we move into this idea of the next expression of wonder, my mental image, and try this, close your eyes for just a moment, is hold your arms up kind of in a V shape. If you're a little stiff, get as close as you can. And what this represents for me is we are opening our arms for all that the universe has to pour in, through, and as each one of us, each one of you. And as you think about that, you're open to that new expression, open to be brought into a new state of wonder of what the universe has in store for you, has for you to be fulfilled, has to fulfill through you. And I think it's that idea that, you can put your arms down now. I was noticing mine were getting tired, so yours might too. What is the universe seeing that needs to be fulfilled through you, each one of you? There's something different. There's a different way each of us is expressing our wonder to the rest of the world around us. Is it a smile that you give? Is it a helping hand? Is it showing up to an event maybe that's not being particularly well attended? Is it just showing up to a new kind of event and having a new experience yourself? How are you being asked to show up and express the universe through you? For me, it goes along with the idea that I heard from Ernest Holmes is it's not what God can do for you, it's what God can do through you. So whether it's God, the universe, the infinite love, infinite joy, infinite peace, whatever your concept is, what can that do through you? So when you speak a word of prayer, when you speak your treatments for yourself or have one spoken for you, you're opening yourself for the universe, for God, for the universal to express itself through you in that way. And when we're open to that expression and open to that way, then we step into a space of this next expression of wonder, because we are not trying to tell the universe how to show up for us. We're saying, I'm open to show up for the universe in a new and wonderful way each day, each moment. One of the things we learned in practitioner training, as I recall, was not to outline a treatment. Meaning, don't try to tell spirit how to show up. It's to open a space into spirit for spirit to show up through me, through you. So it's a little bit different than we might expect. So you might ask for a prayer about prosperity. So who's ever speaking that prayer for you is going to talk about the universe showing up as prosperity through you, in, as, and through you, for you, but not necessarily in the way that you, as requesting that prayer or treatment, might have asked for it. One of the wonderful experiences that I had at Agape in Los Angeles was during our practitioner training, we had the opportunity to serve in the prayer ministry. And this is sitting in 2 to 4 hour blocks of time and answering prayer request calls. And I will tell you that once or twice I had the experience in 4 hours of speaking 22 prayers. And when I walked out, I think I didn't touch the pavement. Because I was filled up as much as any of the people that I spoke for. But some of the people had very specific, it was like simple kind of an example pointing the direction. I would like a red Toyota Tercel, etc., down to like all this stuff. And one person I said, well, would it be okay if I spoke in terms of highest and best transportation for you? And the person stopped. Well, why? I said, well, what if it was a red Mercedes? Would you not take it? Or a red, I can't remember what I had as the example, but she said, oh, I never thought of that. And that's the idea of that next expression of wonder. What if it's something even better than you imagined? What if it's a step more? What if you don't need to know how it's going to show up? The mere mortal mind has no business wondering how. Our job is to know the what. So that's why I like the writing down. You write down the what of what you'd like to see unfold for you during the year and take your hands off how it's going to show up. See, that's the not outlining piece. That's the piece that says, I'm open and available for all that the universe has to do through me. I'm open and available to allow that expression to flow through me. And when we're in that space of allowing the flow, then we're in the space of anything that comes forward, whether it seems to be wonder or wonderment, to know that we have all the power, the presence of the universe working through us to help us get to the next step. We don't have to wonder, how am I going to do this? We can step into the space of breathing into knowing that there is a power and presence larger than each and every one of us that can flow through and make these things brand new, can make all things new, as Reverend Karen said in the meditation, to basically drive us forward into the space that we want to move into, that we don't have to know the answer. Because many of these things are just unknowable. If I look back and try to dissect how some of the things happened in my life on either side of the ledger, I can sort of see where, some things might have happened, but there are some times where I just can't even imagine how it got there. It just seemed like all these things came together at the same place and same time, and they were there for me. Now, other times I can see where I did some outlining, And things didn't turn out quite so well. That I thought I knew better than sort of allowing things to unfold, and I pushed. I let that little EGO thing do its thing, and wound up in trouble. And then I had to go back and pray into the space of, okay, universe, I've taken my hands on it. Now you can do the right thing with this thing, and let's move through this together. It's almost like having your own team. If you've had that feeling, it's like you've got a team on your side showing up to guide you through each and every step of the process without you having to basically make a bunch of phone calls to get those people here to help you. So I'd like to end this in a kind of a different way. So just close your eyes with me. And we're just going to construct a treatment together for the new year. So just repeat after me. I know that the universe is the one power and presence everywhere. It is expressing in, as, and through. All that I see. All that I don't see. And all that I may see in the future. I know that I am one in this. I am in it. It is in me. There is an infinite flow that is ever present as my life. And it is always connected with the infinite flow of the universe. Now take a moment and bring to mind that which you'd like to see unfold for your coming year. The wonder that you would like to see unfold. And repeat after me. I know that this infinite wonder of the universe that is expressing as my life is already done in the universal mind, the one mind, the peace and joy and love of God. Sorry. I know that it is already fully orbed in that one mind as the expression of my life. I know that when I look back from the vantage point of January 2020, I will be amazed at all that has unfolded as the wonder of my life. I am grateful to know that this wonder is unfolding. I am grateful to know that this divine plan is already flowing and moving through me. And it is with this great gratitude that I release this word into the infinite law of mind, where I know that it is already done. And so it is. And when we say, and so it is, we're saying it's done, it's whole, it's perfect, it's complete. There is nothing more to do. And so it is means the same thing as amen, amen, it's done. It's done. It's been, the concept has been with us as societies around the world for a long, long, long time. So when you speak that word and you do say, and so it is, it's one of the strongest declarations that you can make. So as you sit with that, feel that. Somebody said to me once, he says, well, we should when I was still a practitioner, it was like, well, we should be prepared to do a talk, and one of the ideas we had was each of the 5 of us would talk about one of the steps of treatment. And he said, well, I'll do this one, I'll do that one. And I said, well, I'll do, and so it is. And they said, well, what can you say about that? He says, oh my God, I could talk for hours. So, because it's speaking that with conviction that seals the deal. And so it is. Thank you very much.